Welcome back to 5 Minute Fantasy Football, presented to you by the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Today, we're talking about my rankings. We're talking about the top streaming options at the quarterback position. And don't forget about our friends over at Underdog. Go to Underdog Fantasy, use promo code FFSGPN. Your first time deposit, they're matching up to $1,000 right now. Pretty crazy. So let's look at my quarterbacks. Kyler Murray gets a juicy matchup this week. He's my number one quarterback. Then I have Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, then Jalen Hurts. Jaden Daniels at 5, C.J. Stroud at 6, Joe Burrow at 7. At 8, I have Dak Prescott. At 9, Patrick Mahomes. And then let's get into the streamers. Justin Fields. He's been a pretty much a weekly play. I know he hasn't been top 10 every week, but he gets a good matchup this week. And Justin Fields should be the starter for the 3-0 Pittsburgh Steelers. What I really like about this matchup versus last week, I didn't like last week where he had to go against the Chargers, where the Steelers and Chargers were both kind of take the air out of the ball and just run it. The more Justin Fields passes, the more scrambling you get. You're not looking at him running the ball and design runs 8 or 9 times a game. Most of the time, those rushes are because he is passing the ball and is scrambling. He is averaging over 9 carries a game, which offers you a floor. Sleeper right now has his rushing line set at 39.5. That tells you they're expecting a lot of rushing. Last week he was able to take one of the end zones. So Justin Fields, if he's available in your leagues, go pick him up. Geno Smith. Geno Smith is a guy, when I look at the quarterback position, I'm looking for guys that got weapons. Geno Smith's got a ton of them. He also gets the Detroit Lions, which are not the best secondary in the world. He's completing his passes at a high rate again. We saw a regression last year, but this year, 74.3% of his passes are being caught, and he's got at least one touchdown a game. He's run the ball a little bit, nothing too crazy, but he should have a good matchup this week against the Detroit Lions. Then Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield was the number one quarterback on the season going into last week, and then he fell on his face. Look for him to bounce back this week. What I really like about that, this is the matchup, the Eagles, their secondary, it's young, they're banged up, and I really like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin this week against that secondary, and then add Jalen McMillan and these running backs into the mix. These running backs can do a lot of damage coming out of the backfield. They're both good pass catchers, and Bucky Irving has added an explosiveness to this offense that I really like to match up against these linebackers. And then we're going to go to the tight end position and look at the tight end streamers this week. Before we do that, I want to make sure to go through the rest of my quarterback rankings. Again, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, C.J. Stroud at 6. They have Joe Burrow at 7, Dak Prescott at 8, Patrick Mahomes at 9, Fields at 10, Goff at 11, and then Anthony Richardson at 12, Sam Darnold at 13, Derek Carr at 14, Brock Purdy at 15. Then I have 16 Baker Mayfield, and they haven't updated yet, but 17 is Geno Smith. Again, those are the 3 streaming options were Geno, Baker, and Justin Fields. So as far as the running back position, I'll just give my top 12. Saquon Barkley, Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson, Alvin Kamara, Jordan Mason, Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, James Conner, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kyren Williams, Devon Achane, and Aaron Jones. And then for the receiver position, we have Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Rashee Rice, Jamar Chase, Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors didn't really, do as much as we wanted him to do this week. No touchdowns, but still a solid performance. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Marvin Harrison Jr., Garrett Wilson, Nico Collins, Chris Godwin, DK Metcalf, Brandon Ayuk. At the tight end position, it's ugly this week. We have a lot of guys hurt. The top guy is going to be Brock Bowers, but I also got Dallas Goedert up there. Travis Kelce, Dalton Kincaid, and Sam Laporta. We'll see if Laporta plays. If he doesn't, obviously he's going to, go down the rankings. Kyle Pitts, Jake Ferguson, Mark Andrews, and my top streamer of the week, Cole Kmet. We saw him explode last week with a great performance. Tight end position is down, so he's already the tight end 3. But you can continue this. We don't know if Keenan Allen's going to play or not. That actually would affect Kmet, whether he did or didn't. But they're trying to get Caleb Williams to get the ball out early. Kmet is one of the safety blankets for him. And last week he was targeted 10 times, caught 9 of them. And you're going to see more of that. Komet is a better passing option than Joe Everett, and they know this, and they're playing him more, getting more in the offense. And we saw last week they're getting more trust in Caleb Williams as well, but with him throwing the ball as much as he did. The other options this week: Dalton Schultz and Tyler Conklin. Gesicki I think is more rostered. I think Gesicki is also a good option. But what I like about Schultz, even though it's not a great matchup, it's really dependent on what's going on with those receivers. Tank Dell, Nico Collins, and Diggs are all showing up on the injury report on top of the running backs. So you're looking at what is CJ Stroud comfortable with? Dalton Schultz. He's the only healthy option out there. Look for him this week. Tyler Conklin. Tyler Conklin blew up last week, and everything as far as the indicators told us this was going to happen. He was getting targets. He was running routes. He was getting all the air yards, and we just, did not trust it. Well, last week, if you started him, it paid off. If you didn't, you're chasing points this week. But I think it's okay to chase the points against a very good matchup. And again, with the indicators, I think this success is going to continue. Do we expect him to blow up with 30 points? Probably not. But look for him to be a target in the red zone, and look for him to be someone that is, second or third on the team in targets this week. Going to the defense, Niners are my first ranked defense, and the Jets and the Steelers and the Chiefs, Browns, Dallas Cowboys. My top streaming defense this week is the Houston Texans. They get Jacksonville. We saw how bad Jacksonville looked this week. Trevor Lawrence, he looks confused and lost out there. He's taken some hits. He's a lot of turnover-worthy plays, and I'm going to attack a bad offensive line, especially when I have a great defensive line. You could also start with the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins get Tennessee, and vice versa. Tennessee gets the Miami Dolphins, and that should be an absolute crap show of quarterback play, and both of those options are available. But Chicago Bears, they get the Rams. Rams is not a team that you typically would target, but what I'm looking at here is a team that has got all their top 2 pass catchers are gone. 3 or 4 of their offensive linemen are going to be out this week, and this offense is just not the same. The Bears per PFF have one of the top matchups this week, and look for them to take advantage of it. So my top 12 defenses: San Francisco, Jets, Steelers, Chiefs, Browns, Cowboys, Texans, Dolphins, Bears, Titans, Saints, and Raiders. So that's 5 Minute Fantasy Football. As always, good luck this week.